Ha! Fooled you. You guys thought we didn't show up this week, huh? No such luck, motherfuckers. Welcome to another episode of WrestleShoot. I'm your host, the Wild Thing, Rob Wiles, joined, of course, by the lovely and talented, the water-slurping ladies' man, my hetero life mate himself, Chris Casanova. Hey, baby, what's going on?
That introduction never gets old.
Well, I try to change it up a little bit every time so it don't get old. And everybody, we just are so excited to let you know that we have been voted Florida's #1 professional wrestling podcast. Okay, so the only ones who really voted on that were me, Chris, and then, of course, Monty and Fair, the Pariah.
Yeah, the Pariah. Let's get it right, man. That's his name.
He busted every inch of my balls for that one last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Big shout out to Monty and Farrell, man. You guys were awesome guests last week. We really appreciate you coming on. And I don't know, maybe this week, what do you think, Chris? We'll be the ones doing the interview?
Yeah, because I felt like it was last week they were doing the interview.
It kind of took over, yeah. Oh, shit. And, you know, it's funny, Chris. We have looked back on one of our favorite matches. The first time you and me ever actually officially locked horns. So we have looked back on that a billion different times when it was leather fat fuck loser. And what was that other guy's name? It was Jared, right?
Yeah, didn't he wear like jeans to the ring or something?
Yeah, and it was going to be those two fools versus you and the Big Payback versus yours truly and formerly known as the Juggalo Jim Cooley for the tag team championships. I don't know.
It was an odd pairing.
What was that company?
What, the promotion?
Yeah, what were they called? Help me out.
I don't know. Didn't it have like a billion letters like WPID?
Q dash Alpha Red Roger.
Whatever, man.
Anyway.
I don't know. I forgot.
That was the night that yours truly and our guest coming on won the tag team championships. That was also the night that you and Justin were so put off that it was no longer just a tag team match. It was now a 3-way tag team match.
Yeah.
That me and Cooley never even got up in the ring, man. We just sat there cracking jokes and watched you and Payback beat 6 shades of shit out of Leather Fat and Jared. That was a fun night. We've talked about it a lot. So I say without any further ado.
Oh, okay.
I think just get it going. Yes, no, yes.
Yes, yeah.
No sign.
Yeah.
Here he is. Coming directly from Sacramento, California, Jim Cooley. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Oh.
Wearing your Sacramento t-shirt.
It's a
It's
powerlifting contest I did yesterday.
No, all right. Good times. That's what you were at when I emailed you, right? Or whatever
Right.
I did. Messenger. Yeah.
Nice.
So let's just get started with something a little bit fun. Just so everybody can see the differences between now and then. Remember that day, brother?
Holy
Wow. Wow.
Cooley, do you remember fucking what that promotion's name was? It was Rick Michaels' thing.
I don't. It had a bunch of letters in it, though, like Chris said. I don't know what it was, but it was just a bunch of shit.
Yeah, like 20 letters or some shit.
There was like 70 promotions back then, so everybody just had to come up with whatever they could come up with for a name. So who knows?
Well, let's be honest. Also, everybody was putting up their promotions back then was trying to compete with what we were doing.
Right.
We were blowing the doors off Sacramento wrestling, man.
Absolutely.
California wrestling. Yeah.
So what's that?
I just want to jump right into it, man, because I popped you into Google just to get a little bit of a catch up. And I saw when you went on WrestleShoot when Porter was doing it as a podcast.
Wow.
And he mentioned in his description, I didn't actually get to listen to it because it was a dead link, but in his description, he said that you went over that falling out with the clowns. What happened with the Juggalos?
Man, honestly, Rob, I don't even fucking know what happened, to be honest with you. I've tried to tell this story a million times. Mm-hmm. I was on the Cauliflower Alley podcast with Matt Robles and those guys maybe a year and a half ago, and they asked me this question. I just remember the show that we did at the skating rink when we brought Rude Boy in. And then he went back and he told Violent J and all those guys, hey, we want you to come to Cooley and Rob's shows and do this. These are big shows. These are fun shows. Cooley took care of us.
Right.
So I had paid for a plane ticket for Violent J, Alex Abbas, a couple other guys. Well, Alex showed up and Rude Boy showed up. Violent J didn't show up. They sent Psycho Patrick instead. I ended up.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we had Sabu on the show that night. Anyway, long story short, I called them and I said, hey, man, I paid for Jay's ticket and I promoted him and I did commercials and he's not here. And they basically told me to go fuck myself. And so, originally they said they were going to fix it next month. They never did, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I sort of got soured over them because I had done a lot for them. I remember buying stacks of their CDs and just handing them to people I didn't know just to try to promote them. I was so fucking brainwashed at that time. And I just kind of turned my back on them, and in turn, the Juggalos turned their back on me. And that was kind of the end of it, and I went from the Juggalo that everybody loved to the Juggalo that everybody hated. And I think it took maybe 24 hours. I mean, it was like fast. Wow. It was like one day they're lining up to get my autograph, and the next day they're lining up to see who can shoot me the fastest. So I don't really fucking know what happened. I mean, they just turned their back on me so quick. It was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, it's gang mentality.
Well, they're a gang now. Like they're a federal gang now. Like they're recognized as a gang now.
Oh, no shit.
And I remember that happened. I think what you're thinking of though is the show where they sent out Sabu instead.
Yeah. Sabu, Patrick, Alex Abbas, and then I think Rude Boy came back as well, right? And it was Sabu and somebody else was in the barbed wire match.
No,
you want to hear a fucking crazy story? I don't know if you know how that ended up.
But was me.
Superintendent of the school.
That was me.
Sabu, right?
No, me and Rude Boy in the barbed wire match.
Oh, you and Rude Boy, that's right.
Yeah, I know.
Sabu wrestled Hustler, right? And so the superintendent came to me during the show and he said, we're not doing a barbed wire match in our school. And I said, well, whatever. So Sabu went and got barbed wire and he said, no, we're having a fucking barbed wire match. And he sat back there and cut up all the barbed wire. He's like, we're doing this. Then they were smoking weed in the back. So the superintendent comes over.
Sabu was doing coke in the back and he got
that
caught.
Too, yeah. So the superintendent steals my money box, bro, and he ran out. He took all the money. And I had to borrow money from the strip club owner to pay people because I had no fucking money left.
And he called the cops. And he called the cops.
Yeah, and he called the cops. And I'm telling everybody, you got to go because the cops are coming. Yeah, that was crazy.
I remember standing in the back, and me and you were talking to that, and it was the principal, wasn't it? It was the superintendent.
No, he was the superintendent. Yeah.
Okay, so we were back there talking to him, and Rude Boy walks up and says, "What do you want to do today, Robbie?" And I said, "Dude, all these people paid to see us do this tonight. The ring's up. Yeah, but it's all going to shit." The guy's going, "If you guys go to the ring, you're going to jail." And I looked at Rudy and smirked, said, "You don't want to live forever, do you?" And he said, "Fuck no, let's go to work." And we were supposed to do a 30-minute just bloodbath, but turns out we did like an 8-minute quickie.
Yeah. It was a good match. I remember the matches were all good that night. Sabu and Hustler tore the building down. Patrick and I was kind of a shit show, but
that's because there's two things. Hustler and Sabu were good because Hustler took control of that shit. He was not going to let Sabu run over him like Sab likes to do. And then you and Patrick would have been great if you didn't make it an Iron Man match. Who wants to watch an Iron Man on the Indies?
Right. I think what happened was, and then Alex Abbas said 1 more minute and made us go longer. And I supposedly won some JCW contract that night, which I never saw. I don't remember going on the JCW tour. So they were just bullshitters, bro. They were professional bullshitters for sure.
I like
you in the house.
right. Yeah. I like Shags. Jay's a cunt. He just is. He's just not a very nice dude. And
he's about the money, bro.
Yeah, because he doesn't really honor though the agreements that he makes. Like with that, when I wrestled, you too, right? It was you and Rude Boy and me and Chris. No,
Mike Rain.
Mike Rain. Yeah, the tornado match when I won the JCW Hardcore title. They dropped their belt to me on an outside show. Yeah. It made all the press that we planned it to make. And then they just dropped the ball and it just kind of fucking vanished on me. So that kind of shows that, like Jay and Shags aren't really the ones running the business. They're just the talent.
Right.
Like I got a few follow-up calls from Alex, but I just stopped taking his calls. Like, I don't want to hear any more bullshit. Just whatever. You guys got your.
I mean, I felt like every time I talked to that guy, he was lying to me, you know? So I was just like,
saying some shady shit.
They kind of, honestly, dealing with them is what pushed me out of the wrestling business. Because I remember I retired at your show when I wrestled Snuka. And I just got on the mic and I quit. Nobody even knew I was going to quit. I didn't know I was going to quit until maybe 5 minutes into the match. And I was like, you know what? I'm fucking done, dude. Like, why? What am I going to do after this? I'm never going anywhere. I'm not going to WWE. I'm not going to fucking any TNA. Like, I just wrestled Jimmy Snuka. I'm done. Like, I had to move on with my life, you know? So.
And that was so fucked up, man, because I got the idea in my head while talking to Snuka at the intermission autograph signing after I blew my knee with Doug Damien, but I'm sitting there talking to Jimmy. And I was like, look, man, make it look like he's almost going to beat you. Because I'm going to stand up and straight up fucking turn on his ass. And then we're going to set up a little fucking feud.
And you didn't tell me that. So you started cutting a promo on me. And I was like, what the fuck's going on right now?
Jesus,
I thought it would be organic and you would cut some shit back. And you're like, well, since everybody else got to talk their shit, I guess I will too. So this is my last match. It's like, oh, motherfucker. We should have had a conversation first.
Probably we should have got on the same page. Yeah, we were all doing different angles. Everybody was in a different program.
No, never. Come on.
Mickey.
How's it going, Mickey?
Oh, God.
That's awesome.
Yep, that was Doug and Roxy, you're correct. That was the fucking show that the cop showed up that your entire family was at. There he is, Loud. What was the call letters for your little gimmick you had back then? Let us know that. Yeah. Me and Chris and Jim are trying breaking our
WPC shit W or something.
What?
WPC shit W. Was it? Is that what it was? Loud and shit PC shit W or something. He's not.
I think you guys need to bro hug it out, man.
Yeah, no, I love Will. You know, it's funny. I went and bought some action figures from Will long after the whole wrestling thing was over for me. He had a bunch of wrestling figures that I wanted to buy, so I went over to his apartment and bought a bunch of wrestling figures from him. I like Will, man. Listen, I'll say it right now. I was a fucking prick back then, and I was about me and myself and my juggalos and putting myself over and what can I do to make myself more famous. And I shit on a lot of people, and I was young and I was stupid. And, you know, there's a time, Rob, where you were my best friend. I mean, I remember me and you fucking being in the school, the wrestling school I had, and just kind of playing fucking video games and sleeping on the floor. And then, you know, and then we just had our big falling out. And in the end, it's like I look back on myself at that time. And did I have a shit ton of fun? Yeah, there was fucking juggalettes lined up outside my bedroom every fucking night. But I was also a piece of shit. You know what I mean? And I regret a lot of the things that I did back then. But in the end, they made me who I am today. So, you know, it's not like I would go back and change anything.
Makes sense.
Maybe treat people a little better, you know?
Right.
If I could go back to that tag team match that we all had at Loudon Show, I'd have climbed up to that roof and pushed you off and jumped myself.
Did I jump off the roof?
Yeah, but you stood there for like 92 minutes thinking about it. Like you
probably.
You got genuinely
that night.
That was the three-way.
Yeah, Payback and myself, and then
Leather Fat.
Yeah, the other two you mentioned, I can't remember.
You know, I fucking socked him in the parking lot at Arden Fair Mall.
Who? Leather Fat.
Leather Fat, yeah.
Good. Fuck that.
Dude. So just pure coincidence. We're talking shit. I think it was AOL at the time. We're talking shit back and forth on AOL, and he's telling me, "Oh, use your fucking big boy voice when you talk to me and all this shit." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, dude. One day we're gonna run into each other." I fucking shit you not, Rob and Chris. I went to Arden Fair Mall that day, and that fat motherfucker was passing out flyers on the cars, and I walked right up and fucking popped him, dude. And he threatened to call the cops on me. I'm like, all that shit you were talking, and now it's the cop gimmick, dude. I hated that guy, bro. I still hate him.
He's a hateable dude. He's a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into all the backstory on our end as to why, but it has to do with the podcasting business, and he's just a fat, useless, fat, disgusting, stupid, fat piece of fat. Oh, we used to fucking really get into it back in the day. What was that one little shithole bar we used to go into and get rowdy at in
The Schizo's bar that you did that show at?
74.
No, not the 40. We used to go to that one bar that was over by where old Will Loudon used to live, that little tiny, dark, hole-in-the-wall shitbox karaoke bar.
What was it, Loudon? You know what it was.
Yeah, well, he never went. No, Loudon's balls didn't drop until he came over to the UWA School of Wrestling, and it amazed me. I was like, look, man, I'm going to pull you aside because we're going to start running shoot class. And I don't want you to get fucked up, so we're going to work with you a little bit. And like quickly, dude, Loudon became a pretty decent little shooter.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. He was out there. I mean, he beat everybody in our school except our top student. He beat everybody else.
Wow.
Yeah, you got to give him some credit for those balls dropping down to his knees.
I remember doing Loudon's show and the fucking ring collapsed or some shit. And he came to me and said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, we'll still do the Battle Royal. And I think that was the day I let, what's his name? Gabe Jimenez. What was
Ugly.
Big Ugly.
Yeah.
And I think he went over on me to end that show. But I'll tell you what, I think Loudon paid me like fucking $500 that night because I had all the juggalos there. It was like my biggest payout in Sacramento, I think, was Loudon's show.
Yeah. Probably brought half the crowd there, man, at least.
Dude, I remember
the ring wasn't broken. Wow. It was an old boxing ring he got.
Oh, is that what it was?
Padding. Just a little. That's why we took the whole fucking match outside that night.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fuck that. That was a terrible night. I remember Larry Blackwell saying, how I saw you bump that ring. How was it? It got one bump more than it was worth. You go three ways, Rob. I'm sure that was some kind of a half-hearted gay joke at my expense, Mickey. But
probably
every week when you come on here and try and fuck with me, I decimate you. So I'm going to give you that one as a freebie. All right, brother? Only because I love you. Fuck me again.
Besides, what's wrong with a three-way? Sounds like...
Yeah, you hating son of a bitch. It's because he's never had one. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You guys can do it, but I'm not going to do it. Those were the good old days, man. But the good old days, and that's back before wrestling really pussified in California, man. That's back when promoters saw each other in the streets, it was likely that we were going to fight.
Right.
And now promoters see each other in the streets and they start buying each other hot dogs or whatnot.
Dude, it's funny that you say that because remember, I don't know if you remember this, but so Kirk White was doing a show at his little spot that he used to always do it at in, I want to say, where at? Fremont. Yeah. And he had brought in Jasmine St. Clair and the Blue Meanie. Jasmine St. Clair at the time was like the world record holder.
Gang bang.
Yeah. And so somebody had called the school and said, hey, do you know you have the gangbang queens going to appear on your fucking charity show? And they thought it was Roland. So someone calls Roland's office and like talking shit to him, whatever. So I get to the show that night. I go with Roland and I'm in the back talking to all the workers. And all of a sudden Jasmine goes, earlier in the show I had gone and bought Roland a hot dog, which apparently makes me a lackey piece of shit. So I'm in the back and Jasmine goes, why don't you go buy Roland another hot dog? And I go, what? Because I never even talked to this broad. And she goes, I said, why don't you go buy your fat boyfriend another hot dog? And I go, and she said something and she goes, fuck you. She goes, go fuck your mother. And I go, why can't I fuck you? Everyone else has. And so Blue Meanie jumps up and I didn't realize he had lost all that weight. I didn't recognize him. He had lost like fucking 120 pounds or something.
Yeah.
So he jumps up and starts popping off to me. And I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. I don't even know who you are. And then Tony Jones leans over and he goes, that's the Blue Meanie. And I go, oh, okay, let's fight, you fat fuck. And then everybody breaks it up. But it was the hot dog, dude. She's like, I'm some piece of shit because I bought Roland the hot dog. So I must be some piece of shit. So Meanie jumps into the crowd with a I want to say a microphone and something else. He was going to beat up Roland. So Roland, who's like 4'2" and like 300 pounds, rest in peace, has his cell phone out. And he's like waiting for Blue Meanie to do something. And they're like, he's got the crowd booing him and shit. So he leaves and Roland's like, oh, I was going to hit him with my cell phone. And I'm like, no, you were going to get your ass kicked is what was going to happen.
Yeah, that's reality right there.
Yeah. So, but it was crazy, dude. All that shit over because I bought Roland a hot dog. She decided that I just must be the biggest piece of shit. So it's funny that you said they go buy each other hot dogs.
Well, Chris, if I may, one moment, Cooley. Chris, if I may, I just want to point out to you how long I have been doing WrestleShoot, how long I've been in this little genre that you think hot dog came out by accident? I knew Cooley would pick up on it. Now, I remember that day, dude. You called me that day from the venue, and you're like, hey, sorry, I'm calling you from Roland's phone, but if some shit follows me back to Sacramento, you got my back? Fuck Blue Mini and Jasmine St. Horror. Tell them to follow you back to Sacramento. I'll call Hustler and Ruben. They can bring their people, and we'll all discuss it in person.
Dude, I remember we had just done a show at the Colonial, and I had Tony Jones on it, all these APW guys, and they're all in the back. And she's basically telling me that I'm nobody. And I'm looking at these guys like, can you tell her that I'm a promoter? I just did a show. And they're all, because they all want to fuck her. So they're all acting like they don't know who I am.
Yeah, right.
They're standing around her like it's 30 degrees below zero and she's a heater. They're like all up on her like they're going to get laid. Like, how many diseases do you want to catch at one time, bro? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So it was crazy, though. They act like they didn't know me. They just worked my show the week before.
Wow.
That's I did a show with her and Sherry once, and I remember looking at her after listening to her talking to some people, and she was just telling lies. Like, you've got so much experience in entertainment. Tell true stories. You don't need to exaggerate shit. So
Right.
I just started laughing one day over her telling a story I knew was a lie. And Sherry's like, don't. I was like, no, fuck that. Look, Jasmine St. Cunt. Quit telling fake stories. We got the ring. We got the whole show for you to tell all those stories. But you're talking to the boys. Why don't you shoot straight? She says, why don't you go fuck yourself? I said, at least I won't get AIDS like I would from fucking you.
Dude, she had the biggest mouth, bro. She always wanted to fight every dude.
No, she wanted to get every dude riled up so the boys would handle it for her.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because I'd kick Meanie's fucking head off. And I like Meanie.
I would too.
But if she got loud with me, I'd kick his head off.
I don't think he's even a shooter, man.
No, but Meanie's he's like a Sandman kind. He's like a bar fighter.
Yeah.
He's not a worker. We know that much. He's not
He's a
fucking
major
shooter,
shit
I guarantee.
man.
Yeah, it's like if Sandman told me he was going to stretch me. I mean, the only way he would be able to do that is because I fell over laughing so hard he was able to grab a hold. Sandman's not a shooter.
Yeah, plus he's drunk 85% of the time.
Yeah, but so are we. So, you know.
Cool. Well, back then, maybe not so much.
Back
now.
in the good old days, we were drunk most of the time. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's because the wrestling business was dangerous back then. I mean, it was sharks being sharks, man. It was a whole bunch of big fish in one little pond, and we were all ready to start eating each other.
Wow. Jeez.
I mean, you know that, Chris. And there came a point, Cooley, where me and Chris finally just told everybody we're not taking any more outside bookings, period. We're only working UWA, and that's the end of it. And if you want to see Wilds and Cast Nova, if you want to see the Apocalypse, you got to come over here and see us. And we drew every month.
I think me and Chris only worked one time, and it was the match to set up the Snuka match, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
Who got to wrestle Snuka?
That's right. Yeah.
It was an outdoor show for the kid that had he had like brain cancer or something.
No. It was the blind show. The Porter's grandson was blind.
Right. That's what it was. It was blind. Yeah.
Marysville. It was the Marysville Elks
benefit show.
Yeah.
And then you set up and performed that night. Your music, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I had that special music that said all my fans' names in it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I'm tearing that fucking ring down because Warpath just closed-lined me from the side and tried to remove my head for me. So I was like,
there you go, Andrew's show. That's what it was called. That's right, Andrew's show. That's what Will just
Marysville.
said.
Yeah, that's right. Marysville.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good show. And then we did the big tag team match against Snuka and Tonga Kid. Following that was the birth of the Apocalypse. But that gimmick to put you in the match with Warpath, That was one of the best bookings I ever had in my life. I couldn't
Which
believe
one
it.
was that?
When I came out to you at the beginning of the show and I said, all right, so congratulations, you won last week. So you're getting your title match. And you're like, yeah, you goddamn right. I said, well, now, hey, and you started calling out Mike Rain. Come to get you, Mike Rain. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I said, you get a title match. I didn't say it was the cruiserweight. No, you're getting a heavyweight championship match against Warpath tonight, you lucky bastard. That was the greatest booking ever.
Yeah.
It's a rough night for you, man.
Yeah, no, dude, working Warpath was a night off.
The fuck out of here. I worked Warpath 100 times. It's never
because you know you're going to be dead by the end of the match, so you just give up and just let him beat the shit out of you.
He gave you a lot of offense that night. I remember he made you look like
he did. You know, he came to me and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to let you do a lot because the Juggalos were there or whatever." And right. I mean, I got him with a bunch of stuff, but he just like when he decides to no sell, there's nothing you can do. He just no sells, and you just have to fucking take it. And you're like, okay, now I look stupid. What do I do? And then you got to start doing the fucking Ric Flair, Roddy Piper thing, you know? And it's like
between his legs and shit.
Yeah. Because what are you gonna do? And I was 155 pounds soaking wet back then. So
well, I mean, I don't know. Let's see if we can get some community feedback on that, guys. What would you say that now? Keep in mind in this picture, I weighed about 260, and I could bench press a Buick by then. So, what do you think Cooley was tilting it out there, Cass?
I'd say about 160, 165.
That's probably right.
I was gonna say 175. So you're really highballing it.
I'm 261 now, so.
Ooh, aren't we a big man now?
I'm two of me.
You ate
so
that
the new you ate the old you.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, so at Pro Wrestling, we did all that. By the way, we had Monty and Pharaoh on last week. Amazing show. And I just wanted to reemphasize one very important part of last week's show, and that is fuck Ron Shaw. You goddamn crybaby, disrespectful douchebag. Yeah, Ron Shaw, you are the WrestleShoot crybaby of the year. You're a girl, and fuck you, Ron Shaw. Moving on.
He needs a bra.
He really does need a bra, that baloney tit bitch. You should have seen this guy on Monty and Pharaoh show, dude. Just I mean, he was like Iron Sheik, but sober. You know how Sheik he gets when he's drunk. So are you a brawny piece of shit? Fuck you, you don't tell me. That was him sober, just being an asshole. So, fuck Ron Shaw. Anyway, let's move on past wrestling. Let's talk about this MMA shit you're involved in.
Yeah, so I started ring announcing maybe 11 years ago. I did I ring announced back then too. I ring announced for Eddie Davis and Tonga Kid. What's up, Connie? And I just did it for a little bit as a wrestling guy. And then I quit and I went and got like a regular job and I was doing all this shit, fought a little MMA back in the 90s and the early 2000s. So one day Jason Von Flew was running an MMA show and I said, you know what? I'm going to start ring announcing again. So went out and did his show, fucking wore a hat, like a t-shirt. It looked like dog shit. And then I decided I wanted to be a ring announcer again. So I would I'm telling you, it was like the wrestling business, guys. I would sleep in my car, drive to LA, sleep in my car, do a show on Friday, then sleep in my car, do a show on Saturday, $100, no fucking money. Now I've won ring announcer of the year 5 times. I'm up for it again this following weekend in Fresno. I'm on UFC Fight Pass. I work for Uriah Faber's A1 Combat. I'm the lead broadcaster, getting paid a couple thousand a night now, not 100. And, it's been awesome, dude. I've been on ESPN, MAV TV, Showtime Boxing, Friday Night Fights. But where I'm at now, I did ring announcing for a long time and I started commentating and I figured out that that's where I want to be. And I can use my mind more and I can do more and it's more creative. And so since I've gotten there, man, it's like my home now. We've done 7 shows there, all on Fight Pass. I think I've probably done about, 500 shows since I've started ring announcing and commentating, and I've done it everywhere, and it's just, I love it. I did a podcast for a while with Matt Freeman, Big MF. You guys might know him. He wrestles up in Stockton. He teamed with Phil Baroni and Stephan Bonner. That turned into a shit show in the last couple of weeks, but he actually had Phil Baroni living in his house. Phil was homeless, didn't have anywhere to go, so Matt moved him into his house. Obviously, you guys have heard that Phil Baroni murdered his girlfriend down in Mexico a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So that fell apart. But anyway,
he was being investigated. They actually got him now?
Oh, he did it. He admitted it. He said he did it. He's basically what happened was she fucked some other dude, and he was like, "Oh, you need to go take a shower before you get in bed." And she's like, "No." So he grabbed her and he threw her in the shower, and she hit her head, and she got knocked out. But she woke up. He picked her up and he threw her in the bed and covered her up, and she died on the bed. So from the brain damage. So anyway,
so they got him on manslaughter.
We did a podcast. We had about 100 shows. We had Mike Tyson on, Evander Holyfield, Scott Steiner, Eric Bischoff. It was pretty cool. It wasn't video. We did an audio podcast, and I kind of coincided that with my ring announcing and my commentary. So I have a comfortable life now. I got married December of last year to my wife Tina, and we live out in Elk Grove. And the last thing I did with wrestling, bro, was I went to Cauliflower Alley. Dallas, Debbie, who was in Glow in the 80s, asked me to induct her into the Cauliflower Alley. And when I got out there, I met Brian Blair, and he had asked me to host the Baloney Blowout, which is the award show the night before the big award show, and ended up co-hosting that. And then the following year, Roland died, and they asked me to come back and ring announce the Roland Alexander Memorial Tag Team match, and I did that, which was pretty emotional for me. And then I went back a couple years, did a couple of that, and then I left. And that's pretty much the last thing I've done in the wrestling business. And that was, I want to say 2015. And everything since then has just been MMA. Every once in a while, I'll pop onto a podcast, a wrestling podcast. Someone will want to interview me, and I'll just do that. But for the most part, man, wrestling made me broke my body, broke my spirit. I had a bad reputation in the industry, most of it brought on by myself. Some of it was just shit that people interpreted that I did that wasn't right. You guys know how it is. It's like you do something and somebody says something in the wrestling business, it can become whatever the fuck it wants to become. But that doesn't, so there was a lot of things that I got blamed for or accused of that I didn't do, but there was a lot of shit that I got away with too. And I'll tell you a fucking crazy story. Eddie Davis and I were doing a show at 7440 Club. It was actually the show where I had the broken foot. I had broke my foot jumping off the ladder at the Colonial, and Big Ugly moved.
I remember that night.
You moved, and my foot broke.
Yeah.
And
he didn't move. He wasn't there. He was at the show. He wasn't in that match.
Who?
Chris.
No, Big Ugly. Big Ugly.
I thought he said, and then you moved.
No, Big Ugly moved. Big Ugly moved out of the way. You can see it on the camera. I jumped off that 15-foot ladder. Because he just kind of backed up, and my foot fucking, hyperextended. So anyway, so we're at the show, me and Eddie, and we're setting up. This is the most terrible thing to tell now that Eddie's passed away. But
Eddie's
this
dead.
kid, what?
Eddie's dead?
Yeah, Eddie died a couple years back.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Cancer. Yeah, it was bad.
We just lost Kirk too, right?
Kirk White, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Roland. I mean, everyone's gone, dude. So what happened was this guy goes into the ATM. He pulls out $700. This kid runs up behind him in the bar, grabs his wallet and his money, and fucking runs out the back door of the 7440 and jumps the fence. So he's like, someone help me, someone help me. So me and Eddie jump in my Eclipse, my Mitsubishi Eclipse, and we drive around the neighborhood and we find the kid. And he's sitting there counting the money. This is how much of a fuck up I was back then. So we take everything from him. We keep the money for our payouts to give to the wrestlers, and we give the guy his wallet back. We're like, hey, man, we found your wallet on the ground. The dude was already gone, and we used all his money to pay the wrestlers that night. That's how much of a piece of shit I was back then when I was a wrestling promoter. You know what I mean? And I look back on that, and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? We basically robbed that guy. I mean, we did rob that guy. So, I mean, not that it was our job to go get his money back, but once we did it, we should have gave it to him, and we didn't. Instead, we used it to pay you guys.
No, I remember. You told me all about it.
Yeah.
That's that night that you had that brilliant booking for me wrestling Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh God, Cotton Eye Joe. Fuck, there's a name from the past.
I actually carried that heavy piece of shit through a pretty decent match that night, though.
Was he also? No, he wasn't Spike Spicy, right?
No, he was fucking Joe Polani, and I came up with Cotton Eye Joe.
Joe
So
Polani, that's right.
himself
Joe Polani. Oh, wow. Joe fucking Polani.
It's like, look, man, the only face that people associate Polani with is the face that Joe Applebomber beats the hell out of. It's like,
Right.
let's get you something different, man. Then you're like, okay, Rob, Mr. Genius, you could wrestle him. Son of a bitch.
I'll tell you though, dude, being in MMA, it just shows me how fucking shitty wrestling was. You know, we just did a show at the Hard Rock on Friday night on Fight Pass, and we had 2 fucking $1 million satellite trucks outside, jib cameras, like everything's professional. You know what I mean? And I'm getting paid a couple $1,000 and everything. They're putting, you know, fucking makeup on me, and the cameras are in my face, and we have this beautiful setup. And then I think back to the wrestling days, and I'm like, I would have done this. We would have had someone recording it on their cell phone with 40 people in the crowd, and I would have got paid $25 fucking dollars. You know what I mean? It's night and day, dude.
Yeah,
night and day.
Most.
At the most, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll never forget
If
fucking.
you're in the main, maybe.
Yeah. Johnny Holiday, I went and I ring announced Johnny Holiday's show. He had he had the little TV spots that he was doing in the Bay. And I'll never forget, I watched a kid come in and he goes, "What'd I pay you last time?" And he goes, "You didn't pay me last time." And he counts out 5 $1 bills and he stacks them on the table and he goes, "Don't ever let anybody tell you Johnny Holiday doesn't pay people." And he handed him $5 fucking dollars, dude.
I said, tell everybody that Holiday gave you your first payout.
Mine?
No, that's what he said. Tell
that's
everybody
what he
that
said every time?
Holiday gave you your first payout. And I said, motherfucker, crumple that up and throw it back in his face. What are you doing letting him just, dude, I'll give you $20 if you throw that back in his face.
Yeah, here's quadruple your pay.
Yeah, dude, just don't let him punk you out. And he's like, oh, no, I got my first payout. You fucking Mark, you're done. That was the kid that Applebar put to the ring, right?
Yeah.
He did one more show, and that was his last night.
He's still working?
Who, Apple? He can't be.
Yeah.
Well, you know, up until Connie might know better than I do, but up until maybe a year or two ago, he was trying. He still does shows and stuff. Dude, I'll be honest with you. So a little friend of my family's, there was a kid that was 17 years old that wanted to be a wrestler. And I sent him to Virgil Flynn's school. Right. Called Virgil and I said, "Hey man, can you do me a favor? You know, can you train this kid? He's 17. They don't have a lot of money." Virgil was like, "Yeah, I got you." Kid starts going there. Virgil died like 3 weeks later. Yeah. And so he ends up, I want to say he ended up at SPW school. And anyway, so they're doing an SPW show or whatever. I think it's still SPW. And I had called Sir Samurai and I said, "Hey dude, are you cool if I come down? I want to say hi to everybody." Coach and hugs. That's right. I want to say hi to everybody. And he's like, "Yeah, come through." So I went in the back. Everybody showed me respect. Ugly was there. Sir Samurai was there. Drake Frost was there. Everybody was super cool. But I'm looking and I'm like, fuck, dude. There's like, what's the kid? Rick Vandal, Rick Luxury. All these guys that are so old and they're never going to go anywhere. And nothing against Rick. I love Rick. I knew Rick since he was in high school.
Are we talking about Rick Luxury?
Yeah.
Fuck you, Rick Luxury, you piece of cunt. It's like every inch of my cock. That's what Cooley loves you. I think you're a coward.
So here's the point, though. So, but all these guys still think they're going somewhere, dude. They tote their little fucking suitcases around. They get their little $50 or $100, and they think that they're superstars because 30 people came to watch them in the crowd. And I'm like, dude,
all jockeying for that same position.
Right. I'm like, let it go, dude. Let it go. It's over. Like, I promise, it's fucking over. Like, you guys are still in the business, but you're doing something that we can do at our age. You know what I mean? Like, you're still bringing something to the table. Like, toting your little suitcase with your fanny pack around to wrestle for $20 in front of 30 people is not a living. It's not a life. It's not even fun. It's not fun. I promise it's not fun. So I just feel bad for all of them, man, because I think that at this point, they don't know what else to do with their lives. They're
like drug addicts and they don't know how to get off.
That's right. They're right. And this business is a fucking drug. And that's why I was glad I got out of it.
Yeah.
What I used to say, the business is like an AOL virus. It just digs into your brain and you can never really get it out.
Right.
Yes, Connie, we did.
We called you. Well, he was calling you old. He just didn't want to say, "Hey, well, we're all as old as Connie." You understand. He was just trying to be nice. Good for you, Joe. Good for you.
Well,
So how often do you do these MMA gigs?
Fucking every weekend almost, man.
Nice.
I rarely do I get time off. It's cool though, because me and my wife will travel together. I'll go down do LA, San Francisco, go do a Bay show, Sacramento. We'll travel to, Reno, I think Tahoe. We do some shows. Every once in a while, like I go out to Arkansas and do shows. I've done New York. But mostly, we travel the West Coast, and it gives us time to we drive. I could fly, but I don't want to. So we'll drive down and we get to spend our trips together, and we'll stop and do cool shit. I have a couple celebrity friends that we'll stop and hang out with or whatever, and it's just fun, dude. I get to spend time with my wife. I do a show every month in Visalia called 559 Fights. And it's one of those, it's like a turnkey show, bro. I walk in, my paperwork's on the table, everything's set up for me. I don't got to talk to anybody about anything. I sit down, I do my job, I go home. Yes. And then A1, I just got made the head of talent and media relations. So in addition to my broadcasting stuff, I'm actually doing admin and executive work for A1 for Uriah Faber. And it's been awesome, man, because it gives me something to do during the week, because all I do is lift weights and go to work on the weekends. That's it. I lift weights all week and then I go to work on the weekends. But now I have kind of a purpose throughout the week, and I have things to do, and I talk to the employees and sponsors and shit like that. So it's been fun. It's kind of seeing the other side of the business, which I haven't seen before in MMA. Obviously in wrestling, the other side of the business is, how can I save some money? How can I make some money? How can I steal some money? How can I fuck the next person over? You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say that, but that's how it was back then, And I hate thinking about that time in my life. I wanted to talk to you guys because you're my friends. Obviously, I miss you guys. I miss that camaraderie that we all had back then. Me and Rob had a falling out. At some point, we've all hated each other in some form or another. But in the end, at one point, Rob was my best friend, and Rob and I did a lot of shit together. And, I'm a very nostalgic person, and I care about my friends. And I wanted to come on this show mostly just to say I'm sorry for how I acted back then, and that I wasn't a better person, and that I wasn't a better friend. And, but I'm happy with who I am now. And like I said earlier, I think everything that I was back then created the person that I am now. And that's lucky for me, because I don't think I would have got my wife if I was the person that I was back then. And I definitely wouldn't have the career that I have right now. So, it sucks, but our experiences make us who we are. So,
Yeah, that makes sense, man.
That's exactly right. For Christ's sakes, I'm not even kind of the guy that I used to be. I know Chris has evolved far past who he was. We were all a bunch of fucking stupid drunk, mutton head hellraisers. That's what we did, man. We were professional wrestlers every day, 7 days a week, and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys an exclusive story that I bet Rob already knows, but I bet nobody else does.
Oh, right. Fire.
My sister was rich at the time. She had fucking millions of dollars. And she had this Ford Taurus, and she had asked me if I wanted to make some money for the week. And I said, yeah. And she goes, I need you to come over, clean out my garage, mow my lawn, do all this shit for me. And you can drive my car back and forth this week. And I said, cool. So the weekends, and my sister did not approve of the wrestling business. And I said, hey, I said, can I keep your car for the weekend? And she goes, you can keep my car for the weekend, but don't go to Sacramento and don't take it to a wrestling show. No problem. Would I do that? Fuck no, I'm not going to do that. What do? I jump in the car. I head to Sacramento for a wrestling show, and I have to cash this check that she gave me. So I go to a check cashing place, and it was a big check. So what I didn't know was they went in the back and they called my sister to see if the check was real. Hey, this is so-and-so from Sacramento check cashing. So now she knows I'm in Sacramento, but I don't know that yet. So I go and do this wrestling show, and then Johnny Holiday was doing his shows, and there were some other shows going on down there. And so here's what ends up happening. I keep the car. I find out my sister knows I'm down there. I'm scared to go back. I have her fucking gas card. So me, Warpath, Hustler, one other person, we're traveling in this fucking Taurus. All four tires were flat. We had donuts on all four wheels that we've got at Pick and Pull. And we're driving this thing up and down the coast, going to these wrestling shows. And I'm using her gas card to buy us all food and fill up the tank. And I'll never forget, me and Schizo are in the car. It's toward the end of this. Me and Schizo are in the car on Watt Avenue. We get pulled over by Grab, which is the fucking stolen car bureau. And I'm like, I look at him, I go, dude, we're fucked. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I stole this car from my sister. And he's like, no fucking way. So they come up And he goes, whose car is this? And I go, my sister's. And he goes, what's your sister's name? And I tell him. He goes to the back of the car, and I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. They're going to pull guns on us. We're fucked. He comes up and he goes, okay, we're just out looking for stolen cars. He hands me my ID back and he leaves. Right then I said, I got to take this fucking car back. So I called my sister and I'm like, I'm bringing the car back, but please don't come outside because I don't want to face you. She's like, I won't come outside. I drive up here. She fucking comes out of the house. And I got to answer for all my sins, right? So that's the kind of shit I did back then, dude. It was crazy. Wrestling makes you crazy, dude. It makes you a fucking lunatic. It really does.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I used to say back then, like when you were at the peak of having lost your fucking mind for that 3-year stretch, I remember saying, God, his mother is such a fucking sweetheart. What the hell happened? I can't imagine this woman being anything but this like sweet, sincere, supportive, emotionally nurturing person. And this guy's a fucking psychopath.
I was convinced I was going to be WWE champion, dude. I knew it. I just knew it, bro. And I couldn't work. I was a shitty fucking worker. I just had the best gimmick in Sacramento because I had built-in fan base. And it worked out. And I was the promoter, so I could just put myself over, which is, that's nothing new. Jerry Lawler's been doing that since the fucking 1920s. So,
How about Vern Gagne?
Vern Gagne, yeah. I mean, when he couldn't do it, he tried to give it to his son. When he couldn't do it, he gave it to his son-in-law, Larry Zbyszko. So, I mean, it's just been that way forever, But so it wasn't like I created self-booking. I just mastered it in Sacramento.
Yeah.
But the thing is about self-booking is you get yourself in a position in your head where you're like, you know what? This is my money that I'm putting out. This is my work I'm doing. This is my ass I'm laying on the line. And you don't want to make a mistake booking by thinking this guy will be good to be the champ or to be in the main to represent your company. So you put that risk square on your own shoulders, which is honestly where it belongs.
Yeah.
Then you test out the guys you're bringing in and you think, okay, who can I give this to quickly? So I don't want to be the champ forever because then you're into that Shane Cody fucking self-mark gimmick.
Right.
Shane Cody.
Connie just said something that I never even really thought about. That being said, it also gave whoever was working with you built-in heat, which it did. All you had to do was come out to an Eminem song when you wrestled me, and you were the most hated guy in the fucking building.
Hey, they stole that gimmick from me. This looks like a job for me, so...
You know what's funny, dude, is I had to leave the wrestling business to actually become somewhat of a known person. You know what I mean? I was only known in Sacramento. Now I'm known in the MMA world, and it's like I had to leave it to find something else, And I don't know. It was I just look back on that time, man. Sometimes I just cringe, bro. I just fucking cringe.
Well, like Chris has looked back on our shows, our relationship and our shows that you and I have done. And he said, like, God damn, dude, you and Cooley were kind of a power couple. It's too bad you two just couldn't fucking get along because you guys put on great shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put your difference aside, man, and just make it work.
Yeah. Well, we both wanted it so bad, dude. Like we both wanted to be in the business so bad. We wanted to like make something happen. And honestly, there was times when I cared about the wrestlers. They were my family. Like I wanted them to have a place to wrestle, And well, we did. Me and Rob both just like I'll never forget. And I'm gonna bust Rob out right now, and he can deny it till he's blue in the face. But this happened. Rob slept with his tag team title the first night he won.
I knew you were going to bring that up, you lying motherfucker.
I'm not surprised.
You, Chris.
He slept with it, Chris. I'm telling you, he hugged it.
Using that rib for 25 years. That's so bullshit.
It's a true story. That's a shoot.
It's not a true story. You're a good person now. Tell the truth, you lying motherfucker.
Yeah, Rob, I'm sorry. I believe Jim.
I was sleeping. First of all, on my back, all cuddled up with that little fucking ghetto ass tag team title belt. Oh, yeah. No, if I was going to cuddle a belt, which, let's not lie. Let's say that Rob may do something that markish. That might be the truth. It's not going to be with that fucking belt that I got that was this big.
It was a shitty belt, but it made it easier to sleep with, right? Am I right?
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
I knew today I was laying in there doing some promoting online, and I was like, he's gonna fucking tell that tag team lie again, motherfucker. Should I roll with it or should I fight it? No. Honesty, that's what I'm about nowadays. And kiss the side of my nutsack.
Oh my God. That's funny.
That's awesome,
But
man.
I do feel like there's actually a little bit of validity to that because I feel like it might have been on the bed with me.
It was definitely on the bed when I walked into your room and you were still on the bed and the belt was on the bed.
And I'll give you that, but then you start telling the boys,
At
I
least
walked in on Wilds and he's cuddled up with the belt, doing the Three Stooges. No, but it might have been on the bed.
You and the belt looked very cozy. Very cozy.
Oh my God.
Hey, me and every belt looked cozy. We just look good together. Well, Jesus, we're coming up to the end of our time already. It feels like that hour just flew right by.
Got any more to promote, Jim?
Yeah, give us some actual hard plugs you want to do, some websites and shit. People, get a pen and paper and write this the fuck down.
Yeah, a1combat.com. We have a lot of shows coming up. February 3rd, we're bringing pro MMA back to Tachi Palace, where WEC started, where Uriah Faber won his first world title, where Chris Lieben made his debut, Max Griffin, all these guys in UFC. So February 3rd is Tachi Palace, and we're going to do the Tachi Palace Hall of Fame that night. And we're putting Uriah into the Hall of Fame along with Doug Marshall and Poppies Martinez. If you guys go there, we also have a show in Long Beach, March 18th. We have an AMI show in Sacramento, Firepower. Also, 559 Fights. I do a show there every month. So check that out. This weekend, I'll be at the Cali Fight Awards in Fresno. I'm going for my third Cali Fight Award, Ring Announcer of the Year award. Hopefully, I'll get that. Don't know. Those are really my biggest plugs. If you guys want to go follow us on Instagram at A1 Combat, Uriah Faber's A1 Combat, that would be dope. And just kind of follow my career. I'm at Voice of Champions on Instagram now, and I'm on Facebook as Jim Cooley Crab. I found my dad when I turned 37. I found my dad after not knowing him my whole life, and his last name is Crab, so I added his last name to my name in honor of finding my real dad. So it's Jim Cooley Crab on Facebook. But hey, man, I appreciate you guys having me on. I miss both you guys. It was a lot of fun talking about the old times and seeing everybody in the chat. Crazy ass con.
A lot of the old haunts showed up tonight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They're waiting to see me and you get in a fight, Rob.
I think I was waiting to see that.
Connie, the voting is actually over. It's only 50% of it. There's a committee, an MMA committee in California that decides who wins, and it goes by accomplishments for the year. So hopefully I did enough. I think I did 46 shows last year, so hopefully that was enough.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck nice. Yeah. Okay, guys. So next week we're going to be coming back with, and I'm going to say his name, Vinny DiBarata. Like, it's an Italian name like DiBiase. And this guy's cool, man. He's like what you used to do, Jim. He's a legit manager, and he's also a shoot manager in the wrestling business. So he's going to come on and talk to us about what it's like working both sides of the line. It's different than like working as a promoter and a wrestler when you're working as an exclusive manager, but reel and shoot, or reel and shoot, reel and work. So that'll be a cool interview to have, and make sure to check out Cooley. And fuck, I was going to try to set up earlier and I forgot the crab thing. I was going to say, okay, Jim Cooley Crab, is it itching bad right now, or are we going to be okay? And I blew the joke. I never do that. It's a once in a very few. Chris, shut up.
What?
Chris, honey, you want to plug anything, sweetheart?
I got nothing to plug, man.
Now you're not trying to sell any houses right now, or
No.
move some hoes.
No.
All right.
All the DL, man.
Cool. Yeah, guys, keep on checking us out. We're always coming back. We're trying to keep new and ingenuitive. If you haven't already done it, hit that like and follow for the Antisocial Network. Now, I say this about every week, guys. If you are posting comments and we're not showing them or replying to them, it's because you're not actually posting them on the Antisocial Network page. For some reason, we're not seeing them. So every week, guys, come on back here, hang out with us, ask questions, listen to me and Chris, have some laughs, tell some lies. And Cooley, brother, good seeing you again. We're going to do it again, huh?
You two guys, let me know.
What do you think, Chris? Should we have him on again?
Fuck yeah, man. It was great.
Sounds like the plan. All right. Bye, Nate.
Later.
Everybody left. Hey, what's going on? Why am I all alone here?